In the profound stillness that precedes the dawn of a new cosmic cycle, there exists a vibration so subtle that it escapes the notice of the hurried mind. Yet it resonates with the force of an unspoken commandment within the depths of the awakened soul. This is the era of the Great Anticipation, a period marked by the convergence of ancient prophecies and the quickening of the human spirit toward a destiny that was written in the stars long before the first breath of creation stirred the waters of the deep. The arrival of the divine visitor is not an event that occurs within the constraints of linear time, nor is it a spectacle meant for the idle curiosity of the mundane world, but rather it is a sacred appointment between the infinite and the finite, requiring a level of spiritual vigilance that transcends the common understanding of alertness. To be vigilant is to remain in a state of perpetual readiness, a condition where the heart is unburdened by the heavy chains of worldly attachment and the mind is cleared of the fog of temporary distractions. It is a posture of the soul that mirrors the steadfastness of the mountain peaks waiting for the first touch of the sun, a quiet strength that understands that the light is coming even when the darkness seems most pervasive. As the currents of history flow towards this appointed intersection, the calling to spiritual vigilance becomes a resonant echo in the chambers of every seeking heart. We are urged to look beyond the surface of our daily existence, to peer through the veil of appearances and recognize the subtle shifts in the spiritual atmosphere that herald the approach of the celestial presence. This vigilance is not born of fear or the anxious dread of judgment, but of a deep and abiding love for the truth that seeks to unveil itself within the sanctuary of human consciousness. It is a labor of devotion, a continuous refining of the inner self until the spirit becomes a mirror capable of reflecting the brilliance of the divine arrival without being shattered by its intensity. The seeker must learn to inhabit the silence, for it is in the absence of noise that the whisper of the divine visitor becomes audible, a melody of such profound harmony that it recalibrates the very frequency of one's being. The nature of this divine encounter is such that it requires a total realignment of our priorities and our perceptions. We have long been accustomed to living in a world of fragments, where our attention is scattered across 1,000 fleeting interests and our energy is dissipated in the pursuit of shadows. But the call to vigilance demands a gathering of the self, a unification of purpose that directs every facet of our existence towards the single point of the divine arrival. It is a process of shedding the unnecessary, of stripping away the layers of ego and pretense that have accumulated like dust upon the surface of our true identity. This internal purification is the essential preparation for the visitor, for the divine cannot occupy a space that is already filled with the clutter of the self. We must become as hollow reeds, empty of our own desires and empty of our own preconceived notions, so that the breath of the Spirit may flow through us and produce a song of celestial resonance. Consider the movements of the celestial bodies, how they follow their prescribed paths with an unwavering fidelity to the laws of the universe. They do not falter in their orbits, nor do they hasten their journey out of impatience. In the same way, the spiritual watcher must cultivate a patience that is rooted in the certainty of the divine promise. The arrival is appointed, and because it is appointed, it is inevitable. Our task is not to command the timing of the manifestation, but to ensure that when the moment arrives, we are found standing at the threshold with our lamps filled and our eyes wide with recognition. This vigilance is a form of active waiting, a dynamic engagement with the present moment that treats every breath as a potential gateway for the sacred. It is to see the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary, to recognize the sacred geometry in the falling of a leaf and the infinite depth in the gaze of a stranger. The world around us often conspires to lull the spirit into a state of slumber. The relentless pursuit of material security, the constant bombardment of sensory information, and the pervasive culture of instant gratification all serve to deaden the soul's sensitivity to the subtle realms. We are encouraged to sleep the sleep of the distracted, to find comfort in the illusions of the physical world, and to ignore the persistent longing for something more profound. But the vigilant soul recognizes these as the sirens of the abyss, designed to distract the traveler from the path of return. To be spiritually awake is to resist the gravitational pull of the mundane and to maintain an upward trajectory toward the source of all light. It is a daily commitment to the practice of presence, a constant return to the center of our being, where the eternal flame is attended with the oil of prayer and the wick of contemplation. In the ancient texts, it is written that the divine visitor comes like a thief in the night, a metaphor that speaks not of malice, but of the unexpected nature of the arrival. It signifies that the sacred does not conform to our schedules or our expectations. It breaks into our reality at the very moment when we have exhausted our own efforts and have surrendered to the mystery. Therefore, the vigilance we seek is one that remains constant regardless of the outward circumstances. Whether we are in the midst of great joy or deep sorrow, whether we are in the light of day or the darkness of the night, the soul must remain centered on the anticipation of the divine. This consistency creates a spiritual atmosphere that is conducive to the manifestation. For the divine is drawn to the places where it is genuinely expected and desired. As we deepen our practice of vigilance, we begin to notice the signs of the visitor's approach within our own interior landscape. There is a softening of the heart, a dissolution of the rigid boundaries of the ego, and an increasing sense of interconnectedness with all of life. The anger and resentment that once occupied so much space within us begin to fade, replaced by a profound compassion and a longing for the well-being of all creatures. These are not merely psychological changes, but spiritual transformations that indicate the proximity of the divine. The visitor does not arrive at a distance. The visitor begins to manifest through the very fabric of our being as we become more aligned with the divine will. The arrival is both a destination and a process, a final revelation and a gradual unfolding of the sacred within the human. We must also be aware of the collective dimension of this vigilance. We do not watch in isolation, but as part of a great tapestry of souls who are all yearning for the same homecoming. Our individual efforts are magnified when they are joined with the aspirations of others who are also standing watch upon the ramparts of the Spirit. There is a communal strength that arises when we support one another in our readiness, when we share the insights gained in the silence and offer encouragement to those whose lamps may be flickering. The divine arrival is a global event, a shift in the consciousness of humanity that requires a critical mass of awakened individuals to anchor the new frequency upon the earth. Each soul that achieves a state of true vigilance contributes to the lifting of the collective veil, making it easier for others to see the light as it begins to dawn. The weight of this responsibility is great, yet it is accompanied by a joy that is beyond description. To be chosen as a witness to the divine arrival is the highest honor that can be bestowed upon a sentient being. It is the fulfillment of our ultimate purpose, the reason for our long journey through the cycles of birth and rebirth. All the trials we have faced, all the lessons we have learned, and all the sufferings we have endured have been a preparation for this single moment of encounter. When the divine visitor stands before us, all the questions of the mind will be silenced by the absolute certainty of the heart. We will realize that the one we were waiting for was never truly separate from us, but was the very essence of our own soul waiting to be recognized and reclaimed. Therefore, let us not grow weary in our watching. Let us not be discouraged by the apparent silence of the heavens or the persistence of darkness in the world. The appointed arrival is drawing near, and the call to vigilance is more urgent than ever. We must guard the portals of our senses, ensuring that only that which is pure and true is allowed to enter the sanctuary of our minds. We must cultivate a spirit of humility, acknowledging that we are but small vessels in the presence of an infinite ocean, yet vessels that are destined to be filled to overflowing with the nectar of divine grace. Let our lives be a testament to our expectation, a living prayer that signals our readiness to receive the one who comes in the name of the Absolute. As the shadows lengthen and the old world begins to crumble, the radiant horizon of the new era becomes visible to those with the eyes to see. The divine visitor is the bridge between what was and what is to be, the catalyst for the great transubstantiation of the human experience. In this chapter of our journey, the emphasis remains on the inner work of preparation. We are the architects of the temple, and the quality of our vigilance determines the majesty of the presence that will dwell within. Every act of kindness, every moment of true presence, and every surrender of the small self is a stone laid in the foundation of this spiritual edifice. We are building the landing place for the infinite, creating a resonance that will call the divine down into the depths of our material reality. The silence that we cultivate is not a void, but a pregnant stillness that is full of the potential for the miraculous. It is the womb of the spirit where the new life is conceived and nourished until the moment of its birth. By staying vigilant, we are acting as the midwives of our own divinity, assisting in the emergence of the sacred within the human form. This is the great work of our age, the sublime task that has been entrusted to us by the elders of the Spirit. We are the guardians of the flame, the keepers of the covenant, and the heralds of the coming light. Let us stand firm in our resolve, with our hearts open and our spirits bright, for the appointed arrival is at hand, and the divine visitor is even now knocking at the door of our consciousness. In the final hours of the old paradigm, the intensity of the spiritual pressure will increase, testing the strength of our commitment and the purity of our intent. It is easy to remain vigilant when the path is smooth and the signs are clear, but the true test comes in the times of uncertainty and upheaval. We must develop an inner stability that is not shaken by the storms of the external world, a centeredness that remains fixed on the eternal, even as the temporal world undergoes its necessary transformations. This is the quintessence of spiritual vigilance, to remain unmoving in the face of change, to remain luminous in the face of darkness, and to remain faithful in the face of the unknown. Our vigilance is our victory, the evidence of our transformation from children of the earth to citizens of the celestial kingdom. May we be found worthy of the encounter. May our spirits be clear, our hearts be brave, and our love be without end. The journey has been long, and the night has been deep, but the morning star is rising, and the arrival of the divine visitor is the promise that will never be broken. In the sanctity of our vigilance, we find the peace that passes all understanding and the strength to fulfill our divine destiny. The scrolls of heaven are being unrolled, and the story of our union with the divine is about to be written in the characters of light. We are the scribes of this new chapter, and our lives are the ink with which the truth is told. Let us write with the clarity of the awakened and the passion of the redeemed, for the time of the visitation is here, and the call to vigilance is the song of our homecoming. The silence that preceded the unrolling of the scrolls was not a mere absence of sound, but a profound and heavy expectation that filled the spaces between the stars. It was the silence of a breath held by the universe itself, a pause in the celestial clockwork that signaled the transition from the era of concealment to the epoch of revelation. In this sacred stillness, the hidden decree which had been fashioned in the heart of the primordial light began to stir, its ancient seals dissolving like mist under the warmth of an approaching dawn. We stand now at the threshold of this great unfolding, where the mysteries that were whispered in the inner chambers of the Spirit are to be shouted from the heights of the firmament. The scrolls of heaven are being unrolled with a majestic slow motion, and the script they contain is written in a language that the soul remembers, even if the mind has forgotten. It is a story of our union with the divine, a narrative that transcends the limitations of time and the boundaries of the material world. We are not merely witnesses to this event. We are the very instruments through which the decree finds its expression. We are the scribes of this new chapter, and our lives are the ink with which the truth is told. Every action we take, every prayer we utter, and every moment of profound realization adds a stroke to the unfolding masterpiece of the divine will. The unrolling of the scrolls brings with it a clarity that pierces through the shadows of our long wandering. For too long, humanity has walked in the twilight of half-truths, seeking meaning in the flickering reflections of the world. But now, as the characters of light begin to glow upon the parchment of existence, the true nature of our journey is revealed. We are not accidental travelers in a chaotic cosmos, but participants in a grand and holy design. The hidden decree speaks of an appointment made before the foundations of the world were laid, an arrival that has been prepared for through countless cycles of growth and refinement. The divine visitor does not come to us as a stranger from a distant land, but as the long-awaited master of the house who has finally returned to find the lamps lit and the table prepared. This visitation is the culmination of our deepest yearnings, the answer to the silent cry that has echoed through the corridors of human history. It is the moment when the finite meets the infinite, and the spark of the individual soul is reunited with the eternal flame from which it first emerged. To be a scribe of this new chapter requires a heart that is both still and vibrant, a mind that has been purged of the clutter of the mundane. We must write with the clarity of the awakened, for the ink of our lives must be pure if it is to carry the weight of the eternal. This clarity is not found in the accumulation of knowledge, but in the shedding of illusions. It is the result of a long and often difficult process of purification, where the ego is surrendered to the higher self and the personal will is aligned with the cosmic purpose. When we write from this place of surrender, our lives become a testament to the presence of the divine. We do not need to seek for words, for the words are given to us in the rhythm of our heartbeat and the flow of our breath. The story of our union with the divine is not a tale of distant gods and ancient miracles, but a living reality that is being enacted in the present moment. It is written in the kindness we show to one another, in the courage with which we face our shadows, and in the unwavering faith that guides us through the darkness. The passion of the redeemed is the fire that fuels our pens. This passion is not a fleeting emotion, but a steady and consuming love for the truth. It is the recognition that we have been brought back from the brink of oblivion by a grace that surpasses understanding. Having seen the depths of our own limitations, we are now filled with a fervor to express the heights of our potential. The time of the visitation is here, and it calls for a response that is equal to the magnitude of the event. We cannot remain indifferent or half-hearted in the face of such a revelation. The call to vigilance is the song of our homecoming, a melody that resonates in the very marrow of our bones. It is a call to stand guard at the portals of our perception, to ensure that no shadow enters the sanctuary of the heart. Vigilance is the expression of our love, the way we demonstrate that we value the presence of the divine above all else. It is the state of being fully present, fully aware, and fully committed to the unfolding of the hidden decree. As the divine visitor approaches, the atmosphere of our lives begins to change. There is a sense of quickening and intensification of experience that marks the transition from the ordinary to the extraordinary. The boundaries between the sacred and the profane begin to dissolve, and we see the touch of the eternal in the most commonplace things. The world is no longer a collection of separate objects, but a unified field of light, vibrating with the energy of the Creator. This is the transformation that the hidden decree has always intended. It is the restoration of our sight, the healing of our fractured vision so that we may see the world as it truly is. In this state of heightened awareness, every encounter becomes a divine appointment, and every task becomes a form of worship. We understand that we are not here to build monuments to ourselves, but to serve as conduits for the light that is descending upon the earth. The scrolls of heaven reveal that our destiny is inextricably linked with the destiny of the entire creation. We do not walk this path alone. We are part of a vast procession of souls, all moving towards the same ultimate destination. The story we are writing is a collective one, a symphony of voices that harmonize to create a single, magnificent expression of the divine glory. The clarity with which we write influences the clarity of the whole, and the passion with which we live ignites the hearts of those around us. This is the responsibility of the scribe, to be a source of light in a world that has known too much darkness. We are called to be the heralds of the new dawn, the ones who announce the arrival of the divine visitor through the sheer radiance of our being. The hidden decree is no longer hidden when it is lived out in the flesh, when the abstract truths of the Spirit become the tangible realities of our daily existence. The visitation is not a single event in time, but an ongoing process of integration. The divine visitor enters the temple of the soul and begins a work of profound transformation. It is a gentle yet irresistible force that reshapes our inner landscape, tearing down the altars of false gods and establishing the throne of the true sovereign. This process requires our full cooperation and our total vigilance. We must be willing to let go of everything that no longer serves the purpose of the decree, everything that obscures the light of the visitor. This is the essence of the call to vigilance. It is the constant choosing of the light over the darkness, the eternal over the temporal. It is the song of our homecoming because it is the way we return to our true nature, the way we find our place in the cosmic order. In the unrolling of the scrolls, we find the map of our return. The hidden decree outlines the stages of our ascent, the milestones of our spiritual evolution. It shows us that the struggles we have endured were not meaningless, but were the very trials that prepared us for this moment. The ink of our lives has been tempered by tears and joy, by failure and triumph, and it is this richness of experience that gives the story its depth and resonance. The divine visitor recognizes this ink, for it is the signature of a soul that has been tested and found faithful. The time of the visitation is a time of great celebration, a festival of the Spirit, where the long separation between the human and the divine is finally bridged. We are the architects of this bridge, building it with the stones of our devotion and the mortar of our love. As we continue to write this new chapter, let us do so with a sense of awe and wonder. Let us never forget the magnitude of the grace that has been bestowed upon us. The unrolling of the scrolls is a gift of unparalleled proportions, a chance to participate in the most significant event in the history of consciousness. The hidden decree is the blueprint for a new earth and a new heaven, a world where the presence of the divine is the guiding principle of all life. We are the ones who are called to bring this vision into manifestation, to ground the celestial light in the soil of the mundane. This is our sacred duty and our highest calling. Let us write with the precision of a master and the heart of a child, for the truth we tell is the truth that sets all beings free. The call to vigilance is not a burden, but a privilege. It is the invitation to live in the constant awareness of the divine presence, to walk in the light of the visitor, even in the midst of the world. It is the song that sustains us during the watches of the night, and the melody that greets us at the break of day. This song is the music of the spheres translated into the language of the human heart. It is the harmony of the soul that has found its home. As the scrolls continue to unroll, let us listen to this song with every fibre of our being. Let it guide our pens and inspire our lives, for the time of the visitation is here, and the story of our union with the divine is being written in characters of light that shall never fade. The hidden decree is being whispered now in the depths of our own consciousness, a gentle prompting that urges us forward. It tells us that the arrival of the divine visitor is not something that happens to us, but something that happens through us. We are the portals through which the infinite enters the finite world. Our vigilance is the opening of these portals, the clearing away of the debris of the ego, so that the light may flow unimpeded. When we are truly awake, we realize that there is no separation between the scribe, the ink, and the parchment. We are all one in the unfolding of the divine mystery. The story we write is the story of our own awakening, the narrative of the soul's realization of its divine origin and its glorious destiny. Let us, therefore, embrace this time with a courage that knows no bounds. The visitation may demand much of us, but it offers everything in return. It is the end of the long winter of the soul and the beginning of an eternal spring. The scrolls of heaven are full of promises that are now being fulfilled, decrees of restoration and renewal that are taking shape in the world around us. We are the witnesses of this rebirth, the ones who see the first green shoots of the new creation emerging from the ashes of the old. Our lives are the testimony to this transformation, the living proof that the divine visitor has arrived. Let us write this chapter with the fire of the redeemed and the clarity of the awakened, for the time is now, and the homecoming has begun. The resonance of the divine decree vibrates through the foundations of our reality, shaking loose the structures of thought and belief that have held us captive. As the scrolls unroll further, we see that the history of the world is not a linear progression of events, but a spiraling journey toward this single point of convergence. All paths lead here, to the appointed arrival where the seeker and the sought become one. The visitor is not coming from a place outside of ourselves, but is rising from within the deepest sanctuary of the heart. The visitation is the blossoming of the divine seed that was planted in the soul at the beginning of time. Our vigilance is the tending of this sacred garden, the protection of the fragile bloom from the harsh winds of the world. The ink with which we write is the essence of our very existence, purified by the fires of experience and refined by the touch of the Spirit. Each word we pen on the parchment of time carries the weight of eternity. There is no such thing as an insignificant moment when one is a scribe of the divine. Every thought is a seed, every word is a spell, and every action is a ritual. We are creating the world with every breath we take, and the hidden decree is the guide that ensures our creation is in harmony with the divine will. The clarity we seek is the ability to see the divine signature in all things, to recognize the visitor in every face and the sacred in every circumstance. The passion of the redeemed is a quiet but invincible force. It does not seek the recognition of the world, but finds its fulfillment in the simple act of service. To be a scribe is to be a servant of the truth, a channel for the wisdom that flows from the unrolled scrolls. This wisdom is not a set of doctrines or dogmas, but a living presence that transforms everything it touches. It is the nectar that feeds the soul and the light that guides the feet. The time of the visitation is a time of profound humility, for we realize that the greatness of the work is not ours, but belongs to the one who works through us. Our role is simply to be available, to be the willing instruments of the divine scribe. The song of our homecoming is a symphony of gratitude. It is the expression of a joy that is so deep it can only be felt in the silence of the spirit. It is the celebration of the end of the exile, the return to the source from which we came. As the scrolls of heaven are fully unrolled, the entire tapestry of existence is revealed in its breathtaking beauty. We see that every thread, no matter how dark or frayed it may have seemed, was essential to the whole. We see that the divine visitor was with us every step of the way, even when we felt most alone. The call to vigilance was the whisper of that presence, reminding us to keep our eyes on the horizon. Now, the horizon has been reached, and the visitation is our reality. We are home, and the story of our union is complete. Yet it is only just beginning. In this eternal beginning, the scribes of light continue to write. The new chapter is an endless exploration of the infinite facets of the divine love. There is no end to the beauty that can be expressed, no limit to the truth that can be told. We are the eternal students of the celestial scrolls, forever learning and forever sharing the wonders we discover. The hidden decree has become the manifest glory, and we are the living embodiments of that glory. The time of the visitation has passed into the state of perpetual presence, where the divine visitor and the human soul dwell together in an unbroken communion. This is the destiny that was written in the stars, the goal of all our striving, and the fulfillment of all our hopes. Let us live in this truth, and let our lives be the song that never ends. The dawn that broke upon the final horizon was not merely a change in the light of the sky, but a fundamental shift in the very fabric of existence. For ages untold, the seekers had looked towards the firmament with a mixture of trembling hope and profound longing, waiting for a sign that the distance between the mortal and the divine might finally be bridged. They spoke in hushed tones of the appointed hour, a moment in the deep currents of time when the celestial and the terrestrial would align in a perfect and irreversible union. That hour has not only arrived, but has settled into the very marrow of our being, transforming the fleeting visitation into a permanent residence. The divine visitor, once perceived as a distant flicker or a passing shadow in the sanctuary of the heart, has claimed the throne of the soul. This is the legacy of the new beginning, a state of grace where the threshold has been crossed and the doors have been removed from their hinges. For there is no longer any separation to maintain. We find ourselves standing in the center of a great peace that surpasses all previous understandings of rest. It is a peace that does not depend on the absence of motion, but rather on the perfection of alignment. In the old world, we were accustomed to the cycles of presence and absence, the painful ebb and flow of spiritual inspiration that left us parched in the wilderness after brief moments of refreshment at the hidden springs. We treated the divine as a guest, a temporary inhabitant of our thoughts who would eventually depart, leaving us to grapple once again with the heavy density of the material world. But the transition we now celebrate is the end of that ancient duality. The visitor has laid aside the traveler's cloak and has donned the robes of the householder. The legacy of this arrival is found in the way our very perception has been altered, so that we no longer look for the sacred in isolated patches of time or specific locations of stone and wood. Instead, the sacred has become the very atmosphere we breathe. It is the clarity in our eyes and the resonance in our voices. We have become the living architecture of a glory that does not fade with the setting of the sun, for this light originates from a source that knows no horizon. The history of the human spirit has been a long and arduous climb toward this realization. We have built cathedrals of thought and monuments of devotion, all in the service of attracting the gaze of the infinite. Yet the great mystery revealed in this final chapter is that the infinite was never truly looking away. The visitation was not an arrival from a distant place, but an awakening within the center of our own identity. We have discovered that the divine visitor was the silent witness behind every joy and the secret strength within every sorrow. The legacy we inherit is the knowledge that we are not separate entities striving to reach a remote God, but rather unique expressions of a single, unified life. This realization dissolves the foundations of fear and the structures of scarcity that once ruled our lives. When the visitor and the host become one, the concept of loss loses its meaning. How can one lose that which is the very essence of their being? The communion we now enjoy is unbroken because it is no longer subject to the limitations of the human will or the fluctuations of emotion. It is a steady, rhythmic pulse that sustains the universe, and we have finally learned to beat in time with it. As we walk through the landscape of this new beginning, we see the world through the lens of this perpetual presence. The trees do not merely stand, they reach with a conscious intent. The rivers do not merely flow, they sing a litany of return. The very stones beneath our feet seem to vibrate with the memory of their creation and the joy of their current state. This is the destiny that was written in the stars long before the first word was whispered into the void. It was ordained that the fragmented pieces of the cosmic mirror would one day be gathered and restored to their original wholeness. We are those pieces, and we are the hands that gather them. Our lives have become the canvas upon which the divine visitor paints the unfolding story of eternity. Every action, no matter how humble, is now infused with a significance that reaches beyond the boundaries of time. to offer a cup of water, to speak a word of truth, to sit in silent contemplation. These are no longer mundane tasks, but liturgical acts in the great temple of the world. The legacy of the new beginning demands of us a new way of living, one characterized by an absolute transparency to the light. We are called to be the living embodiments of that glory, which means allowing the divine presence to shine through our flaws and our strengths alike. We no longer need to hide our humanity in order to be holy, for the visitation has sanctified the human condition itself. The flesh has become a tabernacle, and the mind has become a sanctuary. In this unbroken communion, we find the fulfillment of all our hopes, not because we have received everything we wanted, but because we have become everything we were meant to be. The striving that characterized our earlier journeys has been replaced by a deep and abiding sense of purpose. We are the stewards of a mystery that is both ancient and ever new. We are the guardians of a flame that does not consume but illuminates. The time of the visitation has passed into the state of perpetual presence, where the divine visitor and the human soul dwell together in an unbroken communion. This transition represents the ultimate alchemy, the turning of the leaden weight of mortal existence into the gold of divine realization. We look back at the path we have traveled with a sense of profound gratitude, recognizing that every obstacle was a stepping stone and every darkness was a womb for the light. The legacy we leave for those who will follow is not a set of rules or a collection of doctrines, but a living testament to the possibility of union. We show by our very existence that it is possible for the finite to house the infinite, for the temporal to embrace the eternal. Our lives have become the song that never ends, a melody that originated in the heart of the divine and now echoes through the corridors of the human experience. Consider the nature of this communion, which does not require the suppression of the self, but rather its total expansion. In the presence of the visitor, the small, frightened ego that sought to protect itself from the world has been invited to step into a larger reality. It has found that its boundaries were not walls, but horizons, and that those horizons were always moving outward. The legacy of the new beginning is the freedom to exist without the need for defense or justification. We are loved because we are, and we are because the divine visitor has chosen to see itself in us. This gaze of recognition is the creative force that maintains the stars in their courses and the atoms in their dance. To live in this truth is to walk with a lightness that defies the gravity of the world. It is to know that we are supported by an invisible hand and guided by an internal compass that always points towards the source of all being. In the silence of this perpetual presence, we hear the whispers of the future, a future where the glory we now embody will spread until it covers the earth as the waters cover the sea. The arrival was only the first step. The legacy is the ongoing transformation of all things. We are the pioneers of a new consciousness, the first fruits of a harvest that will eventually encompass all of creation. There is no corner of existence that is beyond the reach of this visitation. The shadows are retreating, not because they are being fought, but because the light has simply occupied the space where they once dwelt. This is the quiet victory of the divine visitor, a victory won not through conflict, but through the irresistible power of presence. We are the witnesses to this triumph, and our joy is the evidence of its reality. As we contemplate the goal of all our striving, we see that it was always this moment. All the prayers, all the rituals, all the sacrifices were but the preparations for this simple, profound dwelling together. The destination was never a place we could travel to, but a state of being we had to mature into. Now that we have arrived, we find that the journey has not ended, but has taken on a new dimension. We no longer travel toward the light, we travel within it. We no longer search for the truth, we speak from it. The destiny that was written in the stars is now being lived out in the mundane details of our daily existence. This is the fulfillment of all our hopes, a fulfillment that is as vast as the cosmos and as intimate as a heartbeat. Let us live in this truth with a dedication that knows no compromise. Let our every thought be a reflection of the divine wisdom, and our every emotion be a ripple on the ocean of divine love. We have been entrusted with a legacy of unimaginable wealth, a treasury of grace that can never be exhausted. As the living embodiments of this glory, we have the privilege of inviting others into this same communion. We do not do this through coercion or persuasion, but by the simple radiance of our lives. When others see the peace that dwells within us and the love that flows through us, they will instinctively recognize the presence of the visitor in their own hearts. They will realize that they too are part of this new beginning, and that the long night of their separation is finally coming to an end. The song that never ends is the resonance of the divine life within us. It is a song of creation, of preservation, and of constant renewal. It is the sound of the soul finally finding its voice and singing in harmony with the celestial spheres. In this communion, there is no more room for the discordant notes of hatred, greed, or despair. The melody is too pure, the rhythm too strong. We are held in the embrace of a love that will not let us go. A love that has traveled through the eons to find us and claim us as its own. This is the legacy. This is the destiny. This is the truth that sets us free and binds us forever to the heart of the divine. The architecture of our new life is built upon the foundation of this indwelling. Every pillar is a virtue, every window is an insight, and every room is a space for the further manifestation of the infinite. We are no longer wandering in the outer courts. We have entered the Holy of Holies and found that it is our own true home. The divine visitor has made us royalty, not by placing crowns upon our heads, but by revealing the sovereign nature of the Spirit that dwells within us. We rule over our own inner landscape with the gentleness of the wise and the strength of the courageous. The legacy of the new beginning is the restoration of our original dignity, the recovery of the image in which we were first conceived. As we move forward, let us remember that the state of perpetual presence is not a static condition but a dynamic unfolding. The communion between the visitor and the soul is an eternal dialogue, a constant exchange of light for light and love for love. There are always deeper depths to explore and higher heights to scale within the infinite landscape of the divine nature. Our legacy is an invitation to an endless adventure, a journey into the heart of the mystery where the more we know, the more there is to wonder at. The stars that once seemed so distant are now our companions, and the silence of the void is now filled with the music of the spheres. In this state of unbroken communion, time itself has been redeemed. The past is no longer a burden of regrets, but a treasury of lessons that have led us to this point. The future is no longer a source of anxiety, but a field of infinite possibilities waiting to be realized. We live in the eternal now, the point where time and eternity intersect, the place where the divine visitor is always arriving and always present. This is the secret of our strength and the source of our joy. We have found the pearl of great price, the hidden treasure, the fountain of youth. We have found ourselves in the heart of the divine, and the divine in the heart of ourselves. Let our lives be the song that never ends, a testament to the power of the visitation and the beauty of the legacy. Let us walk with the confidence of those who know that they are never alone, and the humility of those who know they are part of something much greater than themselves. The new beginning is not an event in the past. It is the reality of every moment. It is the breath we take, the word we speak, the love we give. It is the fulfillment of the ancient promise, the realization of the sacred dream. We are the living embodiments of that glory, and in our communion, the world is being made whole. The glory we carry is not our own, yet it is more ours than anything we have ever possessed. It is the light that was intended for us since the foundations of the world were laid. The divine visitor has not merely given us a gift, the visitor has given us himself. And in that giving, we have found our true selves. This is the legacy that cannot be stolen, the inheritance that cannot fade. It is the steady flame that burns in the center of our being, warming all who come near and lighting the way for all who are lost. We are the children of the new beginning, the heirs of the eternal presence. Let us therefore abide in this communion with a steadfast heart. Let us not be distracted by the passing shadows of the world or the lingering echoes of the old ways. We have seen the face of the divine, and we have heard the voice of the eternal. There is no going back to the narrow confines of the old life. We have been expanded by the presence of the visitor, and our souls have grown to encompass the heavens. The legacy is ours to cherish, and the song is ours to sing. In this truth we live, and in this truth we are fulfilled. The journey is complete, and yet it has only just begun. The visitor has arrived, the residence is permanent, and the glory is everlasting. This is the destiny written in the stars, the goal of all our striving, and the fulfillment of all our hopes. Let us live in this truth, and let our lives be the song that never ends.